Recording in progress. And welcome back to the Buckle Up Podcast universe with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush. This is our 1 year anniversary episode. We have done 152 episodes, and we are in 99 countries now and 1,017 cities around the world. If this is your first time coming to the show, I am actor Brandon Rush. I've been in 80 TV and film productions. My mom is my co-host, Mama Rush, who is a pharmaceutical sales specialist. And we have launched an amazing show, we're going on our 1 year anniversary now of that, which is the Buckle Up Podcast universe with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush. We feature guests from all different backgrounds. In the 80 plus TV and film productions I've been in, I've had directors, producers, actors, writers, casting directors, casting associates, casting producers, casting assistants, studio heads, executive producers on the show. Also, I've had people from other backgrounds that I'm friends with around the world, CEOs of companies, small business owners, startups, people in tech for Netflix, Amazon, doctors, lawyers, nurses, nurse practitioners, professors, teachers. I think I already said small business owners. I did. And just people from different backgrounds, even students. They can come here, former athletes. They can come on our show and offer some amazing advice about what they've done in their careers. Voiceover artists too, by the way. But things that they've done throughout their careers that have made a difference. And I think what's been special about this show is the fact that we featured these guests from all different backgrounds around the world in different countries. That's how we've been able to get 99 countries so far in the 1,017 cities around the world on our show. If you have a story that you think might be interesting to us, feel free to reach out. You can reach me on my Instagram handle, which is BRANDONRUSHH, or on my Buckle Up Podcast business handle, which is BUCKLEUPPODCAST. So that's BUCKLE, which is Buckle Up, UP, then PODCAST, Buckle Up Podcast. You can either DM me directly or you can write in my comments to let me know that you that you're trying to get a hold of me, or you can even write on our on any of our stations, because we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Feel free to leave a comment on our about our podcast and that you're trying to reach out to me. YouTube, iHeartRadio, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're in all those same exact handles for each. YouTube is Buckle Up Podcast Universe. And without further ado, today's guest is Melissa Tony Stiers. Melissa Tony Stiers. She is a global visionary leader at the intersection of artificial intelligence, emotional intelligence, and human connection. She is the CEO of the Fundamental Wellbeing Foundation and the Chief Global Growth Officer at MIAAI. She has worked in over 40 countries. She's spoken at United Nations General Assembly, Davos, and Cannes Lions, and is redefining what leadership is like in the digital age. Please help me welcome Melissa Tony Stiers. Me. Pause recording.
Okay.
That's just going to be difficult today. All right, it's just not going to work for me today, which is really annoying. Great. All right, here we go. Melissa's going to let her in here. This meeting is being transcribed. Okay. Make sure that I have record set. It is. It's recording. Melissa should be here. Melissa!
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. well, yeah, I love it. Melissa, you look absolutely stunning. How are you doing today?
I am so excited to be meeting you guys. I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped. I'm hyped. I'm hyped.
Hey, we love the energy. We love the energy. Thank you so much for coming on today. I know I asked you the other day, but I wasn't feeling well, but I'm feeling great now. So I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to come on our show, the Buckle Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush and
Mama Rush. Hi, Melissa. How are you this morning or this afternoon?
such a fan. I told Brian, like, such a fan of Mama Rush. I'm such a fan of female scientists. I'm such a fan of yours. So
Oh,
nice to connect. Seriously. So
oh,
nice.
well, we are
I'm
looking.
honored.
Oh, and I tell you, I agree with Brandon. You have so much beautiful energy, and we just love it. And love
Oh,
all the scenery behind you. I
Yeah.
think we see Paris and we see a little Italy and what
good
else do we
eye.
see there?
Yes, Paris, Italy, some Asian bases, like
Oh,
trying
beautiful.
to make a vibe. Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's working well for you. Well, Melissa, today it's all about you, and you are our 153rd episode today, and the first one of our 1 year anniversary. So you're our first guest. So we're happy about that, and I think the
I'm
start of our
so
new
pumped.
season.
Yeah, start of our new
Yes.
season.
Yeah, season 7. You're the first person out.
I love being special. So, and seven's a lucky number. I feel like it's a good
Oh,
number.
yeah.
It is. It is. A lot of my family members were born on the 7th. Not me, but a lot of my family members were born on the 7th. But
Nice.
so, Melissa, it's all about you today. And here's our question for you. What first drew you into leadership, well-being, and global connection to
Oh
start your
my
show?
goodness. Yes. So I'm a small town girl from a city called Ocala, Florida, born and raised there.
Mhm.
And I have just always had a heart for people. I was on stage since I was 2 years old, singing with my mom. I grew up singing in church. I grew up doing things that we would call the word Christian world would know the word ministry.
Yeah.
So I've always been. I got really, really blessed because I worked with a lot of people and were mentored by a lot of people who kind of gave me leadership positions when I was young, like younger, put me
Mhm.
in charge of things at an early age. And my, as my mom would tell you, I just kind of was born like this. I was running things, running programs in the fourth grade and the eighth grade. And I absolutely, I believe we are here to be in relationship with one another. I think that is the most important thing on this earth are people. I
Yeah.
believe each and every person is designed with a purpose and a plan.
Mhm.
And I, being from a small town, I had big dreams to see the world, and those have been exceeded by any wild imagination. And then the leadership piece, I think you kind of know this. When you have a seat at the table,
Yeah.
you get to move things and direct things, and for me, bring people along, like
Okay.
bring as many people along. So it's basically I was born this way.
Absolutely. Like, baby, I was born this
Born
way.
this way, yeah.
Yeah. I love the energy you're bringing. I love it all. What has working in these 40 countries taught you about people?
Oh my goodness. So, I went to my first country when I was probably it was a service trip when I was maybe 17 years old, with Honduras. And then doing what I did in DC, where I really grew my international career in the Middle East and in Asia. It was so beautiful because I think you've seen it now. We're in the United States and where the podcast is located, but I love that you're global. And so when you are able to see, I think, how other people live, how other people receive love, receive how they serve, I think what I believe is it grows your empathy. I
Okay.
think the more that you are able to experience, the more empathetic you can become. And I tell you what, when you go and walk into the streets of Jordan, or you walk the streets of Israel or Saudi Arabia and know those people directly, have looked them in the eye and had conversations, when you're back all the way on the other side of the world, it's a lot harder to say, yeah, go ahead, there's a war going on, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know that. So you become so much more aware. I think that's the biggest thing.
Okay. I love
Mhm.
that. And then also another question for you. Where did you go to college? How did you end up having you kind of told me a little bit here, but where did you end up going to college? Like, how did you kind of what shot you on this path? I think that's important because I almost skipped over that
Mhm.
by accident.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is a little miracle story. So I'll just stick with me.
I
So
got
I
it.
was
Mhm.
I was supposed to go to a small private Christian college. I won't name them. I won't call them out because I had earned all these scholarships my whole career, not my whole career, my whole middle school and high school years of singing. I won. I was the best preacher in the state of Florida. I beat all the boys
Oh
back in eighth
wow.
grade. Like so, and when you did that through, I was at Assemblies of God college, and you would earn scholarship money. And so I literally knew I was going to this college. I had my roommate's name. I had banked all the scholarship money, and when I graduated high school, they had this a new president came on board, and the college was in financial distress. And
Ooh.
so we literally went down to the college, and lo and behold, we run smack into the president. And it was just like, oh, this is a God thing. And that nice president walked us right into the financial aid office, where I could have taken out like $40,000 worth of loans, which just wasn't doable. And so here is little Melissa. I say little Melissa because I'm only 5 foot tall, but really big with this personality. Little Melissa, like I wanted to see the world. I wanted to get out of my hometown. And I ended up having to go to my local community college,
Okay.
which was a knife. At the time, it was a knife in my stomach because I wanted out. I was so upset. And so for the first year of my college career, I was bitter. I was bitter and angry, and I was so mad because I was super mad at God and like, what is happening? This is, I wanted to go where you wanted me to be, and what is this? And I did everything right, and that's like a theme in my life. I did it right.
Yeah.
And I had these two loving leaders in my life. They were actually used to be my youth pastors and became dear friends. They literally called me out and they said, Melissa, you are about to go. We see you going down a path of bitterness, and we see it like overtaking you. You can go that route, or you can choose joy, and we're going to walk that with you. And so in their living room, I cried. I chose joy. So the second year, I actually I did a lot of acting classes at the community college. And then from there, I jumped to the University of Florida, which was like the number 3 public relations program in the world. It's where I call them my DC mom, who I lived with, and literally the University of Florida like launched my career. It would have never happened. And then all the irony of ironies is back in 2023, after everything, the community college, which is now a full 4-year college, I actually got the Alumni of the Year award from them.
Heck yeah.
And so it's just was such a full circle moment. This thing that I fought against, and why, it literally, my life would have gone in such a different direction had I not gone there and then gone to UF. So I'm so grateful. So that's a big story, but yeah.
No, that's amazing. Well, I think you are our first Gator that we have had on the show, because I'm a Gamecock, but you're the first Gator that we have had on the show.
I mean, if you ain't a Gator, you're Gator bait. So,
Okay. Awesome. I love that. That, you were at first, obviously, rightfully so, you were upset with what God had a plan for you, but you didn't see it at the time. And sometimes, what does it say? Like a diamond is formed under coal and under pressure. And you were being molded at that time, not realizing it, because a lot of times we are sent on paths that we might not understand why, but it was meant for end up being for your good and what you were supposed to do. Because had those things not happened, even those mentors coming back in your life, when you were supposed to get to the University of Florida, when you were supposed to, you might end up being at this church school we won't mention, which could have completely impacted the lives that you already have and continue to impact to this day. I say the same thing because my mom wrote something that got me not into one of these schools I applied to for college, but I applied to this one school. My mom said, that's why I want to go to University of South Carolina. And I didn't get into that school. I got denied. But it ended up being the best thing possible. And it shaped my life beyond it. So that's why I was just saying that real quick.
And the University of South Carolina has been just wonderful for
it's the best. I wouldn't regret it for anything.
And listening to Melissa tell about her college, and Melissa listening to you, Brandon's dad started out at a local college there in Denmark, South Carolina. And from there, I think he went 2 years, but then he moved on to the University of South Carolina. But the experience that he received being at home at the local university or whatever, it was a college, I believe, and then transitioning to a larger University of South Carolina, it made all the difference in his father's life. And so with that, God puts us, as you've mentioned, in certain situations that we need to see. He's preparing us for bigger things. And look at you. Now you have gone through all these countries, and that is just amazing what you've done from that humble beginning, as we speak about. So let's go on and look at this. We've been talking a little bit, or I read a little bit about your AI experience with the human connection. Tell us about that a little bit.
So that's amazing as well. So I'm somebody that's been fortunate enough to. I met the CEO and founder of the company that I'm now a founding partner in, Mia AI, by divine intervention. Everyone always asks, she's from Finland. How does a Florida girl meet a Finnish entrepreneur? And we just say, it's divine. We don't have any other way to explain it. And so I am a non-technical person. I like, Brandon, you had journalism and PR. I had PR, PR, and so no tech at all. So when I met the folks when I met Yana and the folks at Mia AI, I just loved what they were doing. They're a public benefit corporation training. They train non-technical talent in the skills of AI. They train the World Bank, IMF. We did some work with the UN, and it's just absolutely incredible. And then their mission on top of that, like, of course, to train the world, but is to empower 1 million women with the skills of AI by 2030. And there's an entire free learning circle. We have an amazing partnership with a nonprofit in Africa called Build Her a Future. And the work is just incredible. So I talk a lot about AI because there's so much fear around it. And I understand that. I understand the fear. However, the way that we're going to combat that is to continue to have all these types of interactions. I don't believe AI will, if we are wise and use wisdom, AI is not going to take this away. What's happening right now, just like fire, just like a vehicle, it can be used for good or it can be used for evil. So I say, use the car to drive to your best friend's house, to hang out, use the car to go on the road trips, not to, for destruction. So that's how I got into it.
Oh, well, great. I'm glad you mentioned about the human connection, because that's a concern that many people have thought about, the human connection. And I always say the human connection will always be there. What does relationship building in the age of AI mean to you?
Oh, that's such a great question. I'm actually tomorrow. This is why I told Braden I'm type A, like always stressed. I'm flying up to Washington, D.C., where I lived for a long time. I'm a senior fellow with the Digital Economist, and there's the World Bank and IMF meetings taking place there. And so I'm actually speaking about this. And so honestly, to me, what it means is, I think what leadership should always look like, and whether it's in your personal life or your professional life, it means that you are intentional. That's what I think it comes down to. I think it's intentional of putting this away at the dinner table, putting it away on Zoom calls, putting it away when you're going on your walks. I think that it's intentional of how you're using it. I've used AI to write poetry. I used to be a poet. It's been so fun. I've used it to help craft beautiful letters to people that I care about, but always keeping the human in the loop. And so that to me is the most important thing. I think if there's one word that I would want everybody to associate, it's intentional. Be intentional, because AI is a tool. It is not a replacement.
That sounds so great. I love
it. What was the defining moment you realized you had a bigger purpose in lifetime? What would that be?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I think I'm just a believer. I respect this, and with traveling, I respect so many other religions. I have just such deep, I always want to say, like, I just have deep respect for so many people of different walks of faith and those that don't have any. I have a relationship with God, and I think from a very early age, I just kind of knew that I was called for different things. I had no idea that it would look like this. I had no idea that a year ago I'd be placed as the CEO of the Fundamental Wellbeing Foundation, which is all about helping people who are living in this place of deep fundamental well-being, this place of amazing peace, that's just incredible. And I think that it started early on. I didn't know what it would look like. And I remember years, there were seasons of dry spells where I was like, God, you gave me these talents. You can see that I like to talk, right? You can see that I love, and I had this like hunger for the world, and I just felt like boxed in, and I just was like, why do I have these gifts if I'm not using them?
Yeah.
But there's a story of the three trees. It's a great little story that my grandma used to tell me all the time, and it's just, you wait, little tree. And so I knew all along. I just didn't know how it was going to play out, and I'm so thankful. I'm thankful for the people that have gone before me, beside me. I'm thankful for the prayers of my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt. And I've had really great people in my life have given me seats at the table early on. But yeah, I think I always knew. I just didn't know it would be this. I didn't know it would
Okay.
be this.
Yeah. Well, I think that I'm glad you said that, like the prayers of your mom, your aunt, I think your grandma, probably your granddad, your whole entire family, and how the church and faith has had a big impact on you, because I definitely think when you grow up in that kind of environment, that also shows you. My dad used to say when he was alive was the only thing that separates us is God's good grace. And I quoted him. He said that when he was alive, but that's one of the things that stuck out to me whenever when I was at his funeral speaking. I said that because at the time he was regarding some the difference between being like being in a better off situation than someone else. Like, it's just you have by happenstance, you and guy, you have to be born into the situation, but you can try your best to do better than that. And then the other thing that he said was we're all human and we all make mistakes. And I related that to the fact of you got to forgive people from time to time, and
Yes.
people also make mistakes. Everyone's human. We make mistakes. And he was relating that to some friends of mine that went to jail one time, that he bailed out of jail. So it sounds like from what you're growing up and your upbringing, with you having this purpose-driven life, is that the book that I'm pretty sure you read or heard at some point. It seems like with the background that you have, that you've done that, and that you're leading towards that because you have a heart for helping people, I guess.
Yeah, I can see, like she said, I can see you are intentional, and I love that about you, Melissa. Before we move on, do you want us to call you Melissa or Tony?
So Melissa, it's Melissa. Tony is my last name. I'm half Greek, and so when my Bapu came over from Cyprus, instead of taking his real last name Hadjipavlos, which would have been Saint Paul, which is also a great stage name, they took his dad's first name. So my last name is Tony Stiers. But yeah, my first name is Melissa.
Okay, great. All righty. I just love it. But I wanted to hit back on that AI a bit, because I just don't want to skim through that quickly, because it's so important about AI. And I really enjoy that platform because I think it helps with my human interaction as well. But how can AI deepen empathy, you think?
That's a great question. And people want to say that AI has empathy. AI only has what you give it.
That's correct.
So whatever you're training it on, whatever you're telling it, and that is how I encourage everyone, because as this podcast is all over the world, the more people that use this, the more indigenous voices, the more people of color, the more people that are maybe displaced that use AI, the less biased AI can become, right? So I want to put that out there. But AI is not in and of itself empathetic. But what AI can do is it can help you. Say you're a hiring manager, or say you're having a meeting. You can actually put in the issue and say, did I come down too hard on this? Or what am I not seeing that might be happening in these folks' lives? And you can kind of use it that way to be a brainstorm with you. You can use it that way to put in to do some kind of deductions. It's not going to take place your critical thinking, but it can absolutely help you with that. And then personally, I love talking, and I love the AI journals that you can kind of talk to and share what's going on. They're very cool. They're locked in. You have to use your face is the only thing that can unlock it. And you can tell them your hopes and dreams, your bad days. And then at the end of the week, it can say, Melissa, this is what I'm seeing with you. These are your patterns. You didn't sleep. You're being really hard on yourself here. And so it can help grow your own self-empathy.
And see, I love that you're saying that. And it's just as with humans, it is whatever you feed in. Children naturally come here with no bias, nothing. They come here with pure hearts. But when you start to train them the wrong things or the right things, then that develops a human being becoming something positive in society or something negative in society. It's all of what that interaction with a child. So when it comes to AI, I believe what we feed it, the more diversity that we put into that system, the better that system creates itself. And so that's what I love. I wasn't even looking. I was just thought what you're doing. So
you nailed it. You nailed it. We say right now AI is a toddler. It's a toddler.
It is.
Teach it, slap its hand before it goes and touches the hot stove. Tell it remind it not to bite,
Exactly. Well, I love that so much, but I want to move on now. I'm going to talk about your leadership a little bit and that well-being there. What is fundamental in well-being? Tell me that part.
So the Fundamental Wellbeing Foundation actually was incredibly instrumental in research that started about 25 years ago out of Stanford, that really studied basically almost a new category of people. You could almost kind of say that they are the happiest people in the world because they really live from this place of fundamental well-being. They were over 6 continents, thousands of research participants, where they over time looked at all these folks' lives, and there were just some people that literally were living with this deep okayness, and it didn't relate to their religion, it didn't relate to their socioeconomic status. And the Fundamental Wellbeing Foundation was created to actually deepen that research and serve people that were living like that, which is basically about 2% of the world. And then also we call those folks finders, or there's a lot of people that are seeking that, and we call them seekers. And there was actually a scientific protocol we have, we call it unshakable, because I think, we throw the word around peace that passes understanding. We throw this around, but we as humans, this, we were built in that fight, flight, or freeze mode since the beginning of time. And so even though we say that we've got peace and we trust, there's still a lot of times in us that fight or flight that's still kind of ruling us. And when you're able to actually sink into that deep okayness, and really understand that everything actually is okay, when you've kind of shifted to live that way, the outside noise, you still feel it, you still see it, but it's not the same. And I say that I made the shift. I grew up like really thinking and, getting highs and lows, but I kind of made that shift in 2023. And it's been amazing, because when you live from a place of pure peace, it doesn't mean you're less hyper. It doesn't mean there's less emotions, but you do make decisions a little bit differently. Yeah. And so sometimes people look at you a little bit side-eyed, or sometimes, I was telling everyone, my life literally, it was falling apart on both sides. But if you cut me open, I just was at the core so flipping deeply okay. And so that's the way we describe fundamental well-being. And it was, we have all these free resources. It's all free. It's like the most amazing thing, gift to the world, like Unshakable if you want to work to get into this. And we have Thrive for if you're living like this. And it really goes hand in hand with sinking into, for seeking into my relationship with the Lord. But I was at Davos this year, and during World Economic Forum week. And this was the time I had never before seen so many houses. There was a house of God. There was a house of collaboration, house of consciousness. There were so many folks seeking this kind of this quieting of the chaos. And I feel like it's very timely, because I think now more than ever, with everything that is happening in the world and in our own little spheres, people are wanting to sink into that peace. And so I actually, I once again just kind of, I want to say stumbled into it, but it was totally ordained that I was able to move into this, because it's just been absolutely incredible. And so we have an app. You can take an assessment to see where you are, if you are living this way, or if you're not. And it's all free, and I can drop all the websites and everything. It's just been so much fun.
I have one question to ask you, Melissa. With the fundamental well-being, that's what it's called, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you guys have programs helping? And these are this not to throw you on the spot or anything like that. Do you have programs helping, let's say, people dealing with grief of having the loss of a loved one, or at the same end, another thing would be with grief, since a lot of people suffer from that, would be veterans that are suffering with PTSD and things like that?
So that is such a great question. And I will tell you, I think the Unshakable program is absolutely that's the one that's incredible. The lead scientist actually told me he had a mother that lost a child, but because she was already living from that place of true okayness, she was able to move forward and power through. So yes, we do have the I would say the Unshakable program and Thrive absolutely go hand in hand with the grief and with PTSD, but we're also creating more and more programs as well to basically live the shift. But I would recommend Unshakable because of the efficacy of the protocol. I think 70% of people that actually do it, they come out on the other side with this deep okayness. And it's not that you don't feel anymore. It doesn't take away from your religious practice or anything like that. It just really has shifted you. And so you're not, I like to say the storm is going around, but you are not knocked around anymore. You still feel it, you still have emotions. So that's a good question. I'm going to get my team on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. It just came to my mind. I was just thinking that just now.
That's excellent, Brandon.
Let's see here. What defines a transformational leader?
Yeah, I like that.
What defines a transformational leader?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe my belief is in servant leadership. I think most importantly, I have worked for bosses and I have worked for leaders. I think I have been a boss, and I pray that right now I am a leader. I think that when you are willing to, first of all, get your hands dirty with your team, get your hands dirty with in whatever you're doing, to actually put yourself at whoever you're working with is, put them either physically do it, or at least, like we were talking about with empathy. That is, to me, the starting place of what transformational leadership is. And then, and I think, Mama Rush, you can probably relate to this more. I am so tired of the women talk about women empowerment or whatever, but nobody is really, this is my take on women empowerment. It's like the 65-year-old's happy to take the 23-year-old up to the table, but there's never like the green-eyed blonde will take the other green-eyed blonde that's perky, because there's still like that little fear. Mm-hmm. And I think really transformational leaders, they see what you don't see in yourself. They pull it out of you, and they are not afraid to raise you high, whether or not it shines back on you, whether or not they lose you. I'll never forget, I hired an amazing girl when I was running, just for a short stint, I ran the president's house at the George Washington University. I brought this amazing girl on. She was awesome. And she did, as soon as I hired her, she told me she was pregnant. She didn't miss a beat. She didn't stop a beat. We had a great time, 9 months. And then she actually, once she had her baby, she wanted to leave. And I gave her, with blessing and with blessing, all my love and everything, because that was her choice. And not that was so transformational, but I didn't make it hard for her. I think I've been trained by transformational leaders. They gave me seats at the table, at 26, 27 years old. I'm walking in, meeting with the Queen of Jordan, that, I don't deserve. That's not owned, but that's somebody that saw something in me and believed I could handle it. And so I think the term of a transformational leader is literally somebody that can pull out of you what either you don't see, what you're afraid to give, and really turn it into something amazing. And then not look for, the other piece of being a transformational leader is you're not looking for the praise back, and you might not even get to keep the person.
Yeah. And I just love hearing you say that, because I think that is when leaders are confident within himself or herself, when they are not intimidated by others that are brilliant. And you always want to surround yourself with the best. As the Bible speaks, iron sharpens iron. That's the only way it makes. And if you see leaders and they build better cultures when they have the self-confidence to let others come in and lead as well. And I love hearing that from you, because that is a purpose. That's a transformational, I guess, a formative leader. I'll say it like that. But I just love hearing that, because this is what society needs more of. And so with that, how can leaders build stronger cultures?
You saying that actually made me think of another piece of a transformational leader, and that is giving of your time. Okay. And I'll tell you a quick story. Once again, I was back at, this is most recently at Davos this year. And the year before, I met an amazing young woman. She was this is the the fact there are not enough women at Davos, and there are not enough women of color at Davos, point blank. I think women of color are the lowest demographic that attend. And this woman was a woman of color that was working at Reddit, and she was younger, and we spent some time together talking about things, and I, got each other's numbers, and life got busy, but I kind of stayed in touch with her. I didn't think anything of it, and the next year she came back and she was trying to get a hold of me, and I was so busy, and I'm like, okay, I think I can find you at the Forbes party, on Wednesday. And we met up, and I didn't realize that she said, Melissa, everything you told me came true. She said, you talked to me about imposter syndrome. You stayed in touch with me. I'm so crazy. I didn't even realize I did a good job of staying in touch. That's how nuts I am. And she said, Melissa, it all happened to you. She said, thank you so much. And then I kid you not, the very next day, I sat down with another woman that literally almost the same story. And she said those same words to me. And it touched my heart so much because to me, I am crazy, psycho, like nuts all over the place. So to slow down and to actually speak truth and wisdom into people's lives, that to me is transformation. And that's giving of yourself. I didn't give money. I didn't give a reference. I didn't give a job, but I think that I gave some hope. And then to have two people come up to me the next year, literally saying the same thing. This isn't to brag on me. This is just to say the amount of impact that your words and your time can have in others' lives is transformational.
It really is. It really is.
Melissa, sorry, Mom.
Go ahead.
I have to ask you a question, and I'm pretty sure that plenty of the other listeners out there are going to say the same thing. What in the world is Davos? Because I have no idea.
Okay, so Davos, Davos is a city in Switzerland. It's the World Economic Forum. We like to say it is the biggest business meeting in the world. President Trump was there this year. Many state leaders go there. The biggest leaders of companies are there, like Bill Gates, and then all of these huge, massive, and any Fortune 100, company, like most of the time their leadership is there. They're having big meetings on Congress, and then at the same time the streets are closed down, and there are all these side events where there's houses, like there was the Deloitte house, there was the CNN house, there was the House of Kurdistan where I got to speak, and so there's all these different houses where you go and you learn. And basically what you can get done at Davos, you can get enough business meetings and business done at Davos in one week that you would at traveling the world in a year.
Oh, wow.
Because all the people are there. So it's literally just the world's largest, most prestigious business meeting in the world, and once a year.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you breaking that down, because I definitely had no idea. I mean, Davos is one of my favorite characters in Game of Thrones. So otherwise, I didn't know what in the world you were talking about. But honestly, I'm glad I asked it, because a lot of people won't know either.
Yes. No, yeah, I'm a nerd. It was on my vision board for 8 years before I ever went.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all about vision boards too. What have you learned about influence? I have a piece of paper here that I have questions on. So I'm not looking at my phone. I'm actually looking at the questions from time to time.
I trust you. No, what have I learned about influence? I mean, I think I've learned a lot. I think I've learned a lot about influencers that are kind of drive me nuts. But I think influence is, we all have it. Yeah. It does not come with a title. It does not come with a status. It does not come with the money in the bank account. It doesn't come with that. We all have the power to influence and to make a difference. And I think that I learned that a little bit later in life, that I wish I would have. I think that I was, especially in the DC days, DC is a hustle, and it is a elbow out of the way. And for me, it was like I was only as good as my last event, the last big star I met, the last big thing I pulled off. And so I didn't realize that literally, the folks around me, the people that I could have been influencing then, and that were influencing me. And so influence, what I have learned is that it doesn't come, that we're constantly doing it, that we're constantly being watched, a lot of times by people that we don't know are watching us. And a friend of mine told me this, Brandon, you can't relate because you got thousands and thousands of followers on Instagram, but I have a little Instagram account. But a friend said, Melissa, imagine if you had those 1,200 folks in a room and you were giving a speech to. Like, that's a big number when you think about it. Or if you have 500 or 200, if you have 200 followers on your Instagram account, imagine on stage talking to 200. That's a place to influence. So I'm using my LinkedIn and my Instagram to be as positive and fun as I can possibly be, because you never know what's the word, the message, the silliness that you see. And I also think it's really great for folks to see other people doing something that they believe is possible, that now they believe is possible. What I didn't tell you about the community colleges, I went, then my brother went, and then at the age of 49, my mother went to college.
Oh,
And
wow,
she
amazing.
went there. She did it in, she did it in 3 years, became a teacher, and was one of the best teachers in the state of Florida. But she was able to do that because she watched one of her very good friends do the same thing. And so to me, that's influence.
And
sorry, Mom, you about to say something?
Well, I was going to say, I wanted to tell, I love hearing that about influence, because I always think whatever platform you have, and we are so happy that the Buckle Up podcast universe has impacted the world in a positive way, because you don't know, as you mentioned, who's looking, how you're shaping the course of either this time or history, 100 years from now. Someone looks back and see the Buckle Up podcast universe and say, at that point in this particular year or whatever, look what they did as far as bringing people all over the world together in a positive fashion, not just foolishness. Foolishness can come every day. You see it on the TV. You can see it in leadership.
Yeah.
But we need to have it in the right way. So I'm so glad that you're mentioning that. But how do you stay grounded? That's what I want to ask.
Well, you just gave me goosebumps talking about that. I want to tell you one more story, because
Yes, please.
I think that, I think it's very easy. And that's what I love about y'all too, in your show, that the humility that's there. And I love the reverence that, Brandon being from the South gives his mom, like, there's a humility. You could be very prideful and cocky, and, y'all both have like such amazing resumes, but there's a humility that comes with what you're doing. And the humility does not counteract the confidence, back when I first moved to Washington, D.C., I was a volunteer for the Christmas Pageant of Peace, which is the big Christmas tree lighting and the president comes. And that year, Dr. Maya Angelou was the poet. And I was backstage, and this is when we had disposable cameras. I know I don't look that old, but yes,
you look great.
No, you look like a young girl.
So I went and I talked to Dr. Maya Angelou, and I said, I told her my mom had just started college, and I told her just how inspirational she was, and she was amazing. And we took a picture together, and it was just great. And about 10 minutes later, that amazing woman called me over, and she said, Melissa, what's your mom's name? And I said, Kathy. Dr. Angelou had sent her assistant to the car and came back with the poem Phenomenal Woman. And she wrote to Kathy, with joy, love Maya and Melissa. And I was able to frame that poem and it chokes me up, and give it to my mom on Christmas. And my mom always says Maya Angelou encouraged her on her college journey. And I share that because literally, to me, like that woman who could have blocked me off and not even talked to me, like did not have to talk to me. She didn't owe me anything. She went above and beyond for me. So I go back, that was back in the day. That was like my early days. I think about that story, that keeps me grounded. Who am I going to help? Who am I going to encourage? Because my goodness, if someone amazing, I'm getting goosebumps all over, can be like that to me, I'm going to do the little that I can to look out for others. So that's one thing. And then obviously I'm a goofball. And so I have no sense of direction. I am literally like, my life is, I told Brandon, like, messed up the time today. So what keeps me grounded is that I'm just, I am just a regular human.
You are a beautiful,
good God.
You're a beautiful spirit. I sat next to her at a dinner. I went to a luncheon actually, and she was right by me at the table right next to mine. And I spoke with her, and you could feel that humility she had, the love she has for everyone. And it was just my joy to meet her too at a time in my life. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful connection there. So with that, I want you to understand everything that you bring, Melissa, is beautiful. I want you to know that. I don't want we love excitement in people. I love it. I am like that. I move all in different directions, but God has us like that. He made us that unique person. How if we just sat there and looked quiet all the time? Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There are people made for that, to sit quiet and to be reserved. But then there are others that God, and I'm so glad he made us that diverse personality type. So don't you ever worry about it or concern yourself with it. So let's move on.
Mama Rush said it here. Mama Rush said it here. I'll send everybody back that ever criticizes me again. Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
That's right. I have you. God has you first. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What are 3 things that listeners can do today, would you say, in general?
To live their lives?
Yeah.
I don't want to be too pushy. I think they need to, all listeners can remember that they are here on this earth for a purpose and a mission, that there is no one that is a mistake, that you are here. If you are walking and breathing, I am telling you right now, it is because there is a plan for you. So I think we kind of forget that a lot. And so that's the most important thing. I think tapping into the higher power, mine is, Jesus, but tapping into, I think it's very important to know that we're not just running around this cosmos and just lost little, humans around, that they're like the astronaut. Like, I don't know if you saw what the astronaut said. He said that there's this, that we matter. He was looking at us, and we matter, and that we were created by a creator. And so I think when we tap into that understanding as well, then that would be really important. And then from my business perspective, I would love for people to come find the Finders and see where you're at, and use our free resources that we've been building up to just serve the world. That's really our goal, to help serve people that are wanting to live in peace, or that are already living in this amazing peace. So those are my three tips.
No, I think those 3 were great. Melissa, I also wanted to say, when you mentioned the story about your mom, we actually almost had me teared up over here, not going to lie, I called it together. But you mentioned how your mom went back to school at 49. I saw this video, and that's inspiring, very inspiring. I saw this video today, this older Asian lady that said, look at the crew of the Artemis and their ages. And she was an older lady, and they were 3 of them are 50, and the one's 49. And she was trying to say, basically, look at the proof that you can be at any age you can start. Or even not necessarily starting, how long it might take to mold you to be the person that you are. Only those 4 could have got up there successfully and got back with the team. It couldn't have been anybody younger with that case. That was the right team to go up there and get back here safely. So the fact that sometimes it takes that time, it takes being that diamond that's molded to that age for your calling, I guess, or for your time to come.
I love that so much. And I believe there's seasons. And I think I'm thankful that, we've got people like Martha Stewart in the world that are just continuing to reinvent themselves. I'll tell you, my aunt is 87 and still goes to work every single day wearing her cutest outfits. And she's the first person I go to for prayer. So I think that I do believe age is just a number. And I'm so glad that finally we're a little bit ripping it away from society, that there's not these, you're not on a timeline. Your calling is not on a timeline.
That's right.
Your calling could be in another, like, and I am reinvented. This is not who I thought I'd be 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Thank God. And so to your point, yeah, Brandon, like, in another 5 years and another 10 years, what's it going to be? Like, don't close up, don't shut down, because the next big thing could be that decade away, and it could be life changing. It could be the moon.
Absolutely.
And I love, and you know what I love hearing, Melissa and Brandon, both of you. And Brandon's, my mother was a French teacher, and she's gone on to be with the Lord now. But my mother taught French until she was 82 years old in high school. The students loved Madam Hall. They called her Madam Hall. They loved Madam Hall. My mother would get up every morning. She drank her tea in the morning and lemon, and she would head out to her class, whether it was snowing, cold, or whatever. She'd be out there, and she would participate in the dance shows that the kids gave, and they would just clap. But I saw how much she loved what she did. And up until the age of 82, loved it, going steadily. And so I think if you are capable and God gives you grace to be able to do and continue to take that wisdom, I mean, if you have wisdom, thank God there are a lot of seniors that grow with wisdom. There's some that are still foolish at the age of 80. But
yes, I think they're all in Congress. Just
look at but at the age of my mom, and I thank her so much for impacting her students in such a positive way. And she made such a difference here in South Carolina that her picture now is in this hall of fame of people in the state of South Carolina who made a positive difference in the state of South Carolina. Not only did she do it there, she made it in the world. So I thank the Lord I just had to bring that about when people think it's time to shut down. You never shut down. You just reinvent yourself or oneself. So I want to give that to both of you today. Reinvent yourself. All right.
Absolutely.
I love that so much. I love that so much. I'm so hyped. I love that so much. I keep playing with the necklace I'm wearing.
Yeah, what is that?
This is it's a friend of mine. She's a jewelry designer, Erin Fader, and she talk about reinventing. And I just got a lioness ring because the lion is rising, and it just but she's like has pushed herself and has really gotten a name for herself now. And I think that when the calling is on your life, when it's time to pivot and move, and you go with it, there's no timeline. And I think that is the message that everybody needs to hear, is because when you shut down, imagine if your mom would have shut down at 72, the lives that would have been that wouldn't have been touched. Seriously. Correct. I mean, wow.
Well, no, Mom, is there a question that I missed on here that you wanted to hit? Because there's one about how do you balance EQ and IQ, but I don't know if that's something that. No, yeah, we're good.
I can tell you the most important is EQ. IQ, like we're especially in the age of AI, IQ is going to keep whatever, but EQ, emotional intelligence, the critical thinking skills, that empathy, the understanding, like the EQ is, to me, it's more important. IQ you can pay for, you can buy, you can get. But obviously, and you can be once again in Congress. That's just a funny joke. No, just a joke. Without an IQ, but EQ, I think, is especially as we're just moving with technology going so fast. If we forget how to connect with one another, if we forget how to read a room, how to read body language, how to shut up, Melissa, when you need to, then it's not as great. So I would say EQ over IQ, but that's because that's what I have as well. So
okay.
My IQ is not we're not going to look at that number.
Well, you know what, Melissa, you said something earlier that I was like, oh my God, that's a great quote. And I might mess up on it because I have to actually re-listen to it, but I heard it at the time and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. But it's along the lines of anyone can be a boss, but not really anyone can be a leader. And that's very true because there's a lot of people that are in leadership. There's a lot of people that are bosses over people, but they can't lead. If stuff goes down, they can lead their way. They can lead themselves or anyone else. I say a lot of times, like I won't ask people advice out of a target because I can find out my way better because I know how to lead my way out and other people if I had to. So you said that earlier and I thought that resonated really well, but I'll figure out what the code is later.
No, that's right. And I think that, when you're working with a boss or you're working with a leader, and I think checking yourself, like is important to be that leader.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to go into the lightning round, Mom.
But before you do that, I just want to ask Melissa one question here. One last question here on my part. What mindset shift is needed today, you think?
That is an amazing question because I have worked on my mindset for a while now. I wasn't raised to have this abundance mindset. I was kind of raised in a scarcity mindset. And so I think that the most important, listen, the Bible tells us this all the time, like what you think about is going to happen, what you speak about, what you meditate on happens, but we just kind of, I don't think a lot of us took that to heart. So I think the most important mindset is a growth mindset. It's, I can't speak Spanish yet, or I haven't gotten to the moon yet, or I haven't starred on the Buckle Up podcast yet, yes. So the growth mindset is huge. And then the abundance mindset is huge because abundance means there is enough for all of us. I can take
that is so true.
To the table. I can take everyone because I'm not holding on to my little piece. Scarcity is, I've only got this much, or I'm only gonna. No. We live like there are cattle in 1,000 hills, the wealth in every mind. Like we have access to all of this. It's not limited, and so having that abundance mindset is going to power you, and it's also going to power those around you. Like you said, iron sharpens iron, right?
That's right.
I love that. Melissa, first off, you've been an absolute delight today, and I love the energy. What's that?
Have I been your favorite guest of your 7th season?
Melissa, you've been one of my top ones. I don't want to offend anybody, but you've been one of my top ones. You've been the most energetic. I will say that hands down.
Oh, I thought for this season though. Aren't you?
I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah, you are favorite. This is
you're a favorite so far this season.
I was giving you a low ball.
You are too cute.
I thought you said all the seasons.
Brandon, you didn't get it. You
Yeah.
didn't get it.
I dropped the ball. I'm not the sharpest. You believe?
You
You
are
got the
Brandon the
EQ.
sharpest.
You got
Don't
the
Yeah.
say
EQ.
you're not, because your spirit will hear it. You are the sharpest in your toolbox. Okay.
There you go. Mindset.
Absolutely.
All
Well,
right.
Melissa, we always do a lightning round here where this can be just one. It could be, well, I'll just read it, but you can answer it however you choose. One word for leadership.
Serve it.
Okay. AI, opportunity or risk?
Opportunity.
Okay. Morning or night?
Oh,
Night
all of
person.
it.
Okay.
Morning now. Morning now. Morning. Get your headspace right. Get your life right. Get going. Morning.
Okay. One life-changing habit.
Oh man. The more so when I was in my stride, getting up at 4:30 a.m. and getting my walk, prayer, journaling on, like that, game changer. Game changer. When you're up before the sun, it's kind of amazing.
Okay. A book that impacted you.
I love the book The Shack. It is fiction, but it portrays the love of God in such a unique way. They made a movie about it, but the book to me was absolutely amazing, and I will reread that. I say read, I do Audible. I will reread that probably every other year, just because to me it shows me how big I'm loved. It just reminds me of the love of God, and so that's something that I love to go back to.
Okay. A place that changed you.
Oh, a place that changed me. Oh my goodness. I think everywhere you go that changed you, but I really have there's a special place in my heart for Jordan and the people of Jordan.
Oh.
Jordan was one of the first countries I ever went to in the Middle East. I got to go with one of my mentors who was a former ambassador there. And, I got to see, I got to go in the Dead Sea, see all these landmarks, walk, where obviously where we read about and happening. And so Jordan, I've hiked Petra twice. I've hiked in Wadi Rum, but the people there are so beautiful, and they all felt like my brothers and sisters. So I would just say Jordan.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you this because I didn't hear. I don't think we touched on it, and I'll give you the time to say it too. How did you end up start going to all these countries? Was it like a job or something? Because we didn't talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so my second job in Washington D.C., I had a woman that believed in me and brought me to the George Washington University. So I started the same day that the new president that was hired started, and then 3 months into our tenure, I was thrown over to Asia with him and his wife at a small delegation, and little Melissa was leading events in Beijing and Hong Kong and in
Oh,
Seoul,
wow.
and it was sink or swim. And so from there, really, we realized that this president, he was amazing and incredible, but needed basically a traveling chief of staff. So I was his traveling chief of staff
Oh,
for
wow.
10 years. And I have to give him a shout out because, he treated me the same way that he treated the Nobel laureate. Like he treated me the same way. And it was hard. And it was like, you're going to deliver here, but to be given that seat and, to be able to have that responsibility and be it expected of you, you're going to show up. So that's what launched my international career. And I'm so thankful.
Oh, thank you for saying that, because I was like, hey, we didn't hit that at all. And
That's right.
I think it's also great because I'm a firm believer that I know my mom was and my dad was, is that we treat the janitor with the same level of respect we treat the CEO. Which goes back to that same thing. The only thing that separates that janitor from that CEO position is God's good grace. That's it. And the opportunity that person got. So
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to make sure that we
Yeah, I
hit
like
those
that. I
things.
love that.
Misconception about success.
That it's gonna make you happy, that it's gonna fill you up. If
I
you're
agree with
if you're empty, it's not gonna fill that God-shaped hole.
Yeah,
That is
I
so
like
true.
that.
That is true.
One thing you teach the world personally.
One thing I teach the world personally, I hope that I teach the world that I hope when people leave a conference, leave a conversation with me, that they feel loved, that they know that they're worthy, whatever state they are. And I heard this on one of your podcasts. I talked about prison, but I grew up for a little while. When I was young, I would sing in the prison. And there was and stuff. So I think that we talk about, we kind of cast people aside, and there's whatever. I believe no story is over. I believe that there's redemption every time you turn around, and I don't think you're ever going to look at anyone and you're never going to look at anyone, in my opinion, in the eyes that God doesn't love. And so I hope that what I teach people is that they are loved.
I love that. And then what would you go back? This is my final question. What would you go back and tell your 18-year-old self if you could tell your 18-year-old self anything?
Oh my goodness. I'd give her a big hug and say, I would say, trust more, stop stressing, do not compete, trust, because guess what? It's bigger and better than you ever dreamed.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I love that. Melissa, you've been outstanding today. You've been our best guest of season 7. You brought you brought so much energy, passion, and love to this, and I am so grateful for you taking your time to come on the show. You have been absolutely delightful. I'm glad to be now friends with you officially. And then I will let Mom take it from here for the closing remarks. And thank you for your time today. It means the world to me.
Well, Melissa, I can tell you one thing. You have everything that God has put in you with purpose. And it's so beautiful. I want you to know that because I feel it in my spirit. And the Buckle Up Podcast universe feels it. What I also want to tell you, I love how you asked Brandon about, have you been the best? Season 7, yes, you are right now. You've continued to be. Remember, in space of time of this Buckle Up Podcast universe, and we now cover, Brandon, how many? Are we on 6 continents?
We're in 6 continents, 99 countries as of this morning, and 1,017 cities around the world. So
and
about
we
to
have
break 100.
How many million following?
19 million is last I checked, but it's higher than that now. I just haven't calculated in a while.
What I tell every guest that's been on this show, the impact each person's story has made has touched someone. And the numbers are so beautiful, but it has touched God because he knows that he's put you here with us and us with you. We're together at this space of time right here. And that's the beauty of every person's story that's been on the Buckle Up Podcast being so unique and so powerful. No matter what the season, no matter if you're number 153 that we've talked to, which you are number 153 of people we've talked with during this year. It has been powerful. So, Melissa, what a powerful conversation we've had today. Even in a world driven by technology, everything comes back to just human connection. You've shown us AI can help us become more aware and connected. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your global perspective. And to our audience, stay ready, stay aware, and always buckle
up. And Melissa, before we give you the round of applause, where do you want people to be able to find you or reach you? Or are there anything you can say that you can think of?
Absolutely. You go to thefinders.org, just thefinders.org, and also find me on LinkedIn, Melissa Tony Stiers, and connect with me. Send me a message. I will get back to you because I'm not Brandon. I don't have a billion followers. So find me on LinkedIn or Instagram, and then also go to thefinders.org, and I will have all the information. And also anybody that's interested in the free AI training, I can get that to you as well. So I'm just excited. And I just want to thank you guys for working in your purpose and your passion and your power, because you're changing lives. I didn't realize it was at 99 countries now. That's amazing.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Well, you've been a big part of it now, and we're happy to have you as part of this family. You're always welcome back, and we always give everyone a round of applause. You might not be able to see Mom clapping, but you hear me clapping. You've been absolutely outstanding today. You're such a sweetheart, and email me any information that you want me to put in your podcast. I work really fast, so to be honest, I'll probably have it done in an hour. But if you have a photo you can send me, would be great. And then any links, any links that you have for me that you think I would put in there too.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, Melissa, you have a wonderful day. Safe travels to DC on tomorrow. And we look forward to hearing about everything that's happened from now and the next time I get a chance to talk to you, which I'll be talking anyway on Instagram. But
thank y'all.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Brandon.
She was wonderful, Mom.
Lovely.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, just a lovely spirit in this earth. Beautiful.
Yes, ma'am.